One of the best rodeos in the entire country is right here in the state of Arizona. It's in Scottsdale. It's called the Parada del Sol. You're going to meet some of the best rodeo cowboys in the country. Welcome to the Mike Broomhead Show.
Well, I got a message. I got a song. Can I get a witness? Tell me what's going on. I show the people.
A couple of my heroes in the rodeo business are joining the show. You're going to meet them in a few minutes. But we start every show off with something we call the sweep. It's sponsored by my good friends at Zero Res Carpet and Tile Cleaning. Big news this week, some of it from right here in the state of Arizona. But let's start with President Trump. New nominee to be National Security Advisor, General H.R. McMaster. I think this is an excellent choice. Once again, when it comes to national security, homeland security, you are talking about some of the brightest minds in the military. It is a great choice, and I think he's doing a fantastic job by having General McMaster nominated to this position. Speaking of which, one of the huge terrorist attacks that were planned, this one on President's Day, thwarted right here in the U.S. Homegrown terrorist. This guy was raised in Missouri, converts to Islam, becomes radicalized, and thought he was talking to some people first on social media and then in person that were ISIS sympathizers and ISIS backers. He thought he was setting up a terrorist attack in the Kansas City area. Trains, buses, and a train station where bombs are going to be detonated to kill innocent people. He thought for sure this was going to be 10 times bigger than the Boston Marathon bombings. So congratulations and thank you to the people that work hard in the federal agencies that thwarted that attack. The president has new immigration policies. Sean Spicer was talking about the layout of those two plans, two-pronged approach to national security, interior, and also at border security. The first part of this, listen to what Sean Spicer had to say.
Perhaps most critically, the president is empowering DHS to carry out the immigration laws currently on the books.
So with that, the new immigration laws are not existing. We are going to start enforcing the existing immigration laws. Secondly, when it comes to border security, this is what he said.
The memo regarding the executive order border security and immigration enforcement improvements outlines the steps that DHS will take to secure the nation's southern border, prevent further illegal immigration, and to repatriate illegal immigrants swiftly, consistently, and humanely.
Now, there has been an uproar in the state of Arizona and in Maricopa County. The new sheriff, Paul Penzone, who's been a guest on this show, I've been in contact with the sheriff all week long on this. Sheriff Penzone changed the policies in Maricopa County on immigration holds, courtesy holds of up to 48 hours after an inmate was released by a judge. Sheriff Penzone consulted with the county attorney, Bill Montgomery, who incidentally is going to be a guest on the show next week to talk about this very topic. And Mr. Montgomery said the way the courts are judging right now, lawsuits are being won across the country where inmates are being held over after a judge releases them. Federal judges are saying when a judge lawfully releases, there is no local jurisdiction that has the right to hold them beyond that time. So Sheriff Penzone said he was no longer going to do ICE holds at the jail. He consulted with ICE and told them as much. The first night of this policy, 5 inmates were released. ICE was waiting for them. All 5 were taken into custody. After that happened, according to the sheriff, ICE has not been there at all, even though the sheriff says he has given them 5 hours notice at a minimum and then contacts them 15 minutes before an inmate is released. ICE is saying completely differently. As a matter of fact, Judicial Watch put out a study and said that it's been over 400, not 33, and there is no notice given to ICE, and the only way that ICE could take anyone into custody is if they stood at the back door of the jail and tried to figure out who was who. I'm not sure yet who is not telling the truth, but someone is lying about that piece of it. I spoke with Sheriff Penzone this week. He assured me a minimum of 5 hours notice and then 15 minutes before an inmate walks out the door. And after the first day, that ICE has not shown up. There are 28 inmates who were released from custody that shouldn't have been. And finally, in the news locally in the state of Arizona, there is a bill in the legislature to ban red light cameras and speed cameras, photo radar, across the state of Arizona. I cannot stand photo radar. I think it is nothing but a moneymaker. If you want people to slow down, hire more cops. Let them make contact with the public. You can't serve somebody a ticket in the mail anyway. It is absolutely ridiculous. I hope, personally, I hope they get rid of the red light cameras. Coming up in just a few minutes, I have two of my closest friends from when I moved to Arizona in 1995, the rodeo announcer, Dan Fowley, and the bullfighter, Luke Kraut from Queensland, Australia. They are part of Parada del Sol Rodeo. You're going to meet them, hear about the history of the rodeo, and some of the best people in the world are my heroes, and my heroes have always been cowboys. You'll meet them here in a few moments, but before we do that, before we move on, let me talk to you about my good friends at Zero Res. Zero Res has a product called Empowered Water. How many times in your life had you wish you could make something not have ever happened? You've said something, you've done something, and you wish I could erase that from everyone's memory. They can do that with whatever mistake is in your carpet. The Empowered Water will make it look like it never happened. Great special during the month of February, 3 rooms of carpet, Zero Resified for $119. Contact them, get on their schedule. You're going to love the results. You're going to love Zero Res. We'll be back in a moment with people from the rodeo. One of the biggest events I love in Arizona is in Scottsdale, the Parada del Sol Rodeo and Parade. It's coming up here. If you've never been, it's a great rodeo. Joining me are two of my closest friends ever, Luke Kraut, the bullfighter, Dan Fowley, the rodeo announcer. It's good to see you guys. Thanks for coming, Luke.
Big time.
First question out of the gate.
Yes, sir.
Did either one of you ever imagine I'd have my own TV show?
No.
You figured I'd be on TV, but it would be in handcuffs.
America's Most Wanted type format.
Let's talk about the rodeo. You guys are a couple of longtime rodeo cowboys. You grew up here.
Yes, sir. Born right up the road.
So tell me about this rodeo from someone that's been here their whole life.
The magnitude of this rodeo and the financial impact that it puts in our community is huge. But just the notoriety, it's my dream to be part of the Parada del Sol. Having grown up right here, my family went to the rodeo there in the old town of Scottsdale, and there's no bigger event in wintertime months, rodeo speaking, than Parada del Sol.
So early in the rodeo season, cowboys and cowgirls are healthy.
Yes, sir.
They want to get a good start to the season.
Right.
So some of the biggest names in rodeos who might not come through Arizona at other times of the year come to this rodeo.
They have to. The payout here, you know, we select the field of competitors at our Wrangler National Finals, the Super Bowl rodeo in December there in Las Vegas. It's decided by money won during the regular season. And with the huge payout, the beautiful weather, the over-the-top livestock that's available for our rodeo hands, it's a must-stop.
Now, from your perspective, Luke, you've been rodeoing all over the world, actually. Grew up in Australia, been here since '95.
Yeah.
And compared to other rodeos around the country, how's the Parada del Sol?
It's great. I mean, the facility alone is unbelievable, especially with the remodeling they've done at Westworld. It's unreal. No matter how the weather is, it's good. You're good to go there. Not a bad seat in the house. Livestock is always unbelievable, and just the atmosphere. There's people milling around there all day long, doing something, whether looking at the vendors or waiting for the band to start after the rodeo, or waiting for the bull riding, whatever it is. There's just the atmosphere. As soon as you walk into that building, it's buzzing.
It's great because this is such a long-standing tradition in Scottsdale, so it's always got the traditional crowd that shows up because it's an event every single year.
You bet. Quite a following, 64th annual, as you point out, and there's folks that were born and grew up going to this. They continue to come, and then, of course, we're blessed to have every year some new first-time folks coming to the rodeo.
That's my question, is for the casual rodeo fan or the new fan. There's such popularity with professional bull riders. PBR, it's still got to be the most popular event in a rodeo is the bull riding, with all due respect to the other events.
Sure.
How does this rodeo compare? If someone's going to go for the first time, they're going to be spoiled at this rodeo. If they think every rodeo is like this one, they're not right.
No, that's exactly right. It's all the bells and whistles. Of course, you talk about the top 30 cowboys in the world. Most all of them will be here. And just the venue itself, it's a real up-close and personal type deal. You're within inches of the action, and it's state-of-the-art for sure.
From your perspective as the bullfighter, now, the term rodeo clown has got to be a bit of, that's kind of an insult for anybody who's ever gotten on the back of a bull. Or as a bullfighter, for you saving these cowboys in the arena, what's the livestock like? And what's this contractor, the contractors that bring this livestock? Tell us about what people are going to see.
Right. Well, Salt River Rodeo Company is our primary contractor this year, and they'll have some other guys bring some bulls and some bucking horses. Award-winning livestock. They had livestock go to the NFR last year in Las Vegas. For the last 5 years, they have. Terrific. We had a rodeo in Buckeye last weekend. Out of 40 bulls, they only rode 4.
Wow. And when you talk about some of the top cowboys going down the road, that's a pretty good record.
Yeah, it is. Yeah.
What does it take to win this rodeo? Now, I'm going to go event by event. We could, but in the bull riding alone, what kind of a score are you expecting to see that's going to win a rodeo here with the caliber of cowboys and the caliber of livestock?
Mid, if not top 80s at least.
Yeah, 80, high 80s to 90 if they ride the right one. Yeah.
So let me ask how you started fighting bulls, because I just saw a video recently. Your son is fighting bulls
Right,
with you now,
yeah,
which is
yeah.
pretty amazing how old we all gotten to be, that your son is old enough to fight bulls, but in the arena with you. What got you started from being a bull rider to being on the ground and saving the cowboys?
Well, I rode bulls in Australia, and then when I come over here, and when I got over here, I got broke in a hurry, and I fought bulls out of necessity. As you know, I was fighting bulls 4 nights a week, and that was my only income. So I really started fighting bulls here in the U.S. out of necessity to survive, and then I went back to riding bulls, and then when I got too old to ride bulls, I saw that there was a need for quality cowboy protection, and that's where I landed.
It was fun to see that video of you and your son, because the similarities in watching the two of you in action from someone that's known you for a long time. How is that is it difficult watching your children rodeo, different than the dangers of when you're doing it yourself?
Yeah, it's completely different, because I've seen everything that can go wrong. I've seen everything that can go right. You're hoping for everything to go right, and then you can sort of see it in slow motion and see that it might go wrong, and
the instinct kicks in, right?
Right, exactly, yeah. So it's very different to watch your children compete or fight bulls or whatever than it is yourself, because just sort of one person, and doesn't really matter, but you're worried about them and always want them to do better and be better than you, so, yeah.
I want to talk more about it, because the sport of rodeo is a family tradition. You yourself rodeoed. You've got kids that are doing it. We're going to talk about a little bit of the rodeo tradition in Arizona, because this was known as a really good rodeo state. Some world champions born and raised right here. So we'll educate some people on the sport of rodeo. We'll be back in a minute. We'll finish this conversation with 2 of the cowboys here from Arizona. All right, keeping with an Arizona tradition, some of the best events we have here in Arizona, one of them is the Parada del Sol Rodeo, and these 2 guys are a big part of it. And you grew up here. We were talking earlier about the rodeo. How many days does it span?
4 days. We'll get underway on Thursday, and then it's 7 o'clock both Thursday, Friday, and Saturday night, and then we finish up with our championship round on Sunday at 2.
So the championship round is a chance to see the best of the best.
It depends how they draw up.
Okay.
There'll be some trade outs, and but yeah, Sunday's a great show. Saturday, they're all great, Mike, as you well know, and entertainment afterwards, and a whole lot of neat things going on at Westworld.
You mentioned the economic impact to our community from the rodeo, which is always a big deal, but they also serve the community. The rodeo committee here is committed to doing some great things outside of just making money.
Oh, without a doubt. Fact is, the rodeo is a platform so that we can bless others. Wrangler and our friends in the rodeo business, folks that originated the Tough Enough to Wear Pink campaign that's been embodied by so many other athletic endeavors, it started right in the rodeo world, and we'll be paying homage to the some survivors that'll be with us, and we'll be raising not only awareness but funds for the cancer branch there at Banner.
I don't think people realize the camaraderie of the sport of rodeo, and it doesn't matter what event it is. I've never seen anything where what somebody else does can directly impact your paycheck, and yet they genuinely look out for each other and cheer for each other.
That's right.
Right?
Yeah, exactly right. Yeah, it's an individual sport, but sometimes the only person you got there to help you out is the guy you're competing against. So you sort of got to have that, otherwise you may not survive.
Now, I've watched you ride bulls. I've never seen you get on one, but
You had to look real quick, Mike.
Oh, listen,
it
I know.
usually lasts long.
That's my punchline. But watching you ride bulls, you were genuinely one of the best in the world at one time. I mean, watching you get on, there were people that thought someday you'd be a world champion. How is the sport, from both your perspectives, bull riding and rodeo as a whole, how has it changed since when you guys started it?
Well, a bit real quick. In my bull riding days, most of the livestock came from the livestock auction, and now it's basically out of test tubes, and they've really genetically enhanced the bucking abilities of the livestock, and in the bull riding, they're all 22, 23 plus bulls.
The way to compare it would be the way they breed racehorses now. They're thoroughbreds.
American agriculture, you put the order out and the best come to the table.
What about your perspective? As a bull rider, when you look at the class of bull riders and the livestock, what do you think?
I think it's so much easier nowadays. You're getting on the pen's more even. You can compete way easier. Travel is easier. You know, they got little motor homes that are fuel efficient and they can get around and stay in that. But the livestock is just unbelievable. It's not a drawing contest anymore. When we were riding bulls, you'd go and you might get on the fighting bull, or you might get on old mate's bull from down the road, and now you get on a good bull, and if you ride one, they're going to pay you.
And what he's talking about is the draw. Each cowboy is drawn and doesn't get to pick the bull they get on. It's picked for him. And back in the day, you could have a great cowboy match up against a mediocre bull and just have a day where you ride him and not win any money. At least now you know if you got some ability, you're going to draw a good bull and got a chance to win a bunch.
Exactly, yep.
So the different events outside of the ones you've competed in, do you either one of you have a favorite? Do you have a favorite event to watch besides when you're working?
I love the bareback riding.
Yeah, me too. I love the bareback riding. It's so aggressive and so hard on the person's body. And the horse, the bucking horse, really has the advantage in that. Them guys get a little bit off their rigging or a little bit out of shape, they are taking a beating.
Now, were either one of you bareback riders? I know you were.
I got on a handful, yeah.
That just looks like it hurts even when you do it right.
Yeah, you can be 90 points and sore.
Yeah, and yeah, at least in the bull riding, when you do it right, it doesn't feel like you did anything to your body,
yeah.
right?
Right.
It's when you do it wrong that it's a train wreck.
It's like an 8-second car wreck.
Yeah, exactly right. So, what do you expect this year? You've both been to this rodeo for a long time. What are the expectations from you as far as crowd size? Is there a favorite day that either one of you have for the rodeo? And how about the entertainment afterwards? I want to talk a little bit because the party doesn't end when the rodeo ends.
It's going to be like a 3-ring circus up there, Mike. I'm an old car guy. I'm so tickled. We're there at the facility, same time Good Guys Car Show, and the Arizona Quarter Horse Association be there too. I would encourage your listeners to get tickets early because it'll be a sellout.
What about you?
Yeah, it's going to be great. I don't have one night particularly better over the other. They're all great performances. And like I said, just the buzz and the atmosphere that's there is just unreal. When you walk in the building, you know something wild is going to happen.
So let's just do a quick throwback for a minute. Mr. Lucky's.
Oh, yeah.
Rodeo announcer.
Yes, sir.
Turned it over to me.
Yes,
I
sir.
was announcing.
And I've always said, and I've said it to so many people, you're one of the best rodeo announcers that ever held a microphone, and I know that was just kind of a precursor to what you do now, but I mean that.
It was so much fun to do that, and much safer than the way I rode bulls. But every time I got on one, I was injured, and this poor guy had to carry me up the steps every time we were roommates.
Right.
But Mr. Lucky's fighting bulls, riding bulls there, to the accomplishments now in your career. It's amazing, right?
Yeah, but it was a good platform, like I said, I made my living at Mr. Lucky's. You know, Ron Blades took a gamble on me, flipped a coin, and said, "Yeah, I'll hire you." And I raised, as you know, I raised my son by myself with the little bit of money I was making at Mr. Lucky's, you know, and eating
macaroni and cheese.
Yeah, right, and
hating
spaghetti
life.
with no sauce.
Yeah.
But it was a great platform. Learned a lot there. Yeah, it was a terrific platform, and that's really where it all started for me in this country, was right there at the old Mr. Lucky's.
The sport of rodeo is a tradition in the state of Arizona, and none better on display than the Parada del Sol. If you are anywhere near Scottsdale, Arizona for that rodeo week, you've got to get out to a performance. You see these two guys in action. I'll be there, and we'll hope we see you there too. We'll be back. Welcome back. It's time for one of my favorite parts of the show. We call it From Arizona for America. It's our way to congratulate and thank the fine Arizona men and women who have recently graduated from boot camp and are now serving in our country's military. So please join me in honoring Airman Taylor Wall from Mountain View High School in Mesa, Airman Javin Brontley Helsel from Mingus Union High School in Cottonwood, and Airman Devin Fries from Estrella Foothills High School in Goodyear. For a list of more of our friends and neighbors that are from Arizona for America, you can go to the Mike Broomhead page at aztv.com. We'll be back in a minute with Broomhead's Best and hashtag this. Don't go away. Time for my favorite part of the show. We call it Broomhead's Best. All right, sticking with the Arizona theme, Emma Stone, raised right here in the state of Arizona. She went to Xavier. She is nominated for Best Actress in the movie La La Land. She credits Bob Cooper from the Valley Youth Theater in Phoenix, Arizona, as the person she respects the most and credits him for most of her success. So Emma Stone, win or lose, you are this week's Broomhead's Best. And now, what's tearing up the internet? We call it hashtag this. All right, I was outvoted on this one. It's called hashtag Tiny Trump. It's the meme about the little president. And I don't know. I didn't think it was that funny, but I'm wrong because everybody on the internet disagrees with me. Everybody on the show staff disagrees with me. The producer wanted to punch me in the face because I didn't think it was funny. So it must be funny, and I just don't know what funny is. But that's what's tearing up the internet right now. Hashtag Tiny Trump. You can see how funny everybody thinks it is. I guess I'm just wrong about the whole thing. We'll be back in a minute to close out the show. Don't go away. A special thank you to my friends from the Parada del Sol Rodeo. Lou Kraut, the bullfighter, one of my oldest friends since I came to Arizona, one of my true heroes in the rodeo business, and Dan Fowley, the rodeo announcer, grew up right here in Scottsdale, Arizona, and is the rodeo announcer, does a fantastic job. I love those guys, and you've got to get to the Parada del Sol Rodeo March 9th through the 12th, right in Scottsdale at Westworld. It is a fantastic event, and I hope you can get out and see what the Western lifestyle is all about in the sport of rodeo and the camaraderie. Next week, County Attorney Bill Montgomery from Maricopa County joins me to talk about the new jail policy, accusations made by Judicial Watch of what's going on there, and to find out what's really happening. Because in the end, we all want illegal immigration to stop. I want it to stop as well. And are we staying within the confines of the law? We're just about out of time. We're going to be back next Saturday night. Make sure you get out to the rodeo. Thanks for being here. God bless.
Get more of Mike Broomhead on Facebook, Twitter, and of course weekday mornings from 6 to 10 on News Talk 550 KFYI.